Tommy Best, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle, and man, excited for today's conversation. Catching up with a veteran friend that's doing a lot of amazing things, and I'm excited where this conversation is going to go. Miss Margie Warren, what's going on?
Not much. It's a beautiful day here in Ohio.
Oh yeah. I don't know. There's something in the air today, though. I was kicking my butt earlier. So I had to do my my little sinus concoctions and all that. But yeah, you were recommending some other things. Hopefully we'll get into some alternative healing and stuff. But usually when I have people on for the first time, you know, I like to go back with them. And when you were a little girl, do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Honestly, I just wanted to be a mom and a wife. Like I didn't have any aspirations to do anything. I just want to be a mom and wife and have kids and grow old, and that was it. I just want to be a mom and a wife, honestly. I've turned a little bit I've changed a little since then.
Yeah. So when was it that like the calling to serve your country came?
Well, my grandmother, two of her brothers were in the Air Force, and her younger sister was one of the first Army Air Force females back in World War II. And my brother joined, and he's only 2 years older. And I saw him starting to travel around, and you know, you could get your college paid for. And at the time, I did not think I was ready at all for college. And so I said, why not travel? And they could pay my college if I want to. Let's give it a try. So that's what happened. And I signed up when I was 17, actually, before I even graduated.
Oh, wow. And then what was it? So because of the family, that's what drew you to the Air Force then?
Yes, I honestly, I didn't think I was as tough for the other ones. So I just thought, I'm like, oh, Air Force sounds good. I passed the test, and so I just went with it since, there was a family history.
And then like, you know, I know you may have heard some of the stories and stuff from family members, but like your own experience, like going in, what was like some of the oddest things that or like, what was the transition like, you know, going into boot camp and stuff for you?
Oh, that was huge because I came from a town, Strongsville in Ohio, and there's almost no military. And I think I graduated with 450 people, and there was maybe 4 or 5 of us that went in the military. 2 of us were females. And so it was a big change. And my very first base was Valdosta, Georgia in the deep South. And so it was a big culture change for me. And I loved it. It was so different, but I loved just, you know, getting that taste of a little travel and just having something exciting to do. And I mean, if you want me to get into it, like what I did in the Air Force, or do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, like what was what was your job first of all? Like what did you train for to do? And then along the way, what were some of the oddest things you experienced, you know, coming from Strongsville then into the military life?
Yeah, well, a lot. Well, I was trained for just supply logistics in the military, in the Air Force, and I didn't know what that meant at all. And so, you know, I got down to Georgia, and they put me in base supply, which basically we pass out supplies for the mechanics, for everything. And I got chosen to work with the F-16. So we had 3 F-16 squadrons there. And so I worked with F-16s, and it was really cool just to be around the pilots. And I mean, obviously that's so different. And just a different world. And one of my first deployments were to Italy just for 3 months, and it was right after the war. And I remember when I was in the dorms and the war kicked off, and I'm like, what does that, or no, I was in the gym and the war kicked off. I'm like, what does that mean for us? And I'm like running back to my dorm going, you know, what do we do? And they said, just go to bed and you'll find out tomorrow when you go to work. And then it was serious, just serious, we were packing mow bags and getting our guys ready to go. But I deployed a little bit. It was a deployment to Italy for like 3 months. And I didn't see anything odd there. And then my second deployment was to Saudi Arabia. And that was a huge experience for me. And just being a female, we were able to walk in our uniforms downtown. And the locals did not like that at all. So that was a huge, just being shunned for being a female and having to go upstairs in the Pizza Hut that were there. But the guys around me surrounded me and protected me. But I don't know. I think the oddest things, honestly, when I got to Italy, and then I got stationed in Italy in Aviano, and the oddest things I think that I found was when the pilots would come back and they would debrief, they would go through the videos and, they would tell us what they saw, what went wrong, whatever. And we would literally see the locals kind of having relations with goats on the video with the F-16. So that was kind of odd for me, being from Strongsville and opening my whole new world to, a different life. And so that was a little crazy. And Costco sells goat meat now. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
They do. I was in the freezer section. I'm like, why? Anyway, so on a different topic. And just being in that fighter world, I got to be friends with some of them. And people joke around about it, but they would have a bowl with keys and say, whoever's key you grab, that's whose wife you'd go home with. And so like, I've seen a lot of different craziness in the little time that I was in. So I was in for 6.5 years, and I worked with the F-16s, and my team in Italy had to get them up in the air when they were grounded. So it was exciting. And, but yeah, I sure have stories.
Yeah. It's definitely a different world working with fighter pilots and stuff. When I went into the Navy, I was attached to an F-14 squadron. And so, it was like a whole different world. I could call them by their call signs. It was more laid back. Everybody was pretty much like Maverick, from Top Gun and stuff. And
well, and they were given incentive rides out, and they thought I had a heart murmur. And so they said, no, you can't go. I told the truth. And they said, no, you can't go because the senator went up and I guess he almost got sick or got hurt. So they said, you can't go. And at the time I was kind of seeing one of the top pilots, and he told our commander, look, I'll just fly Margie straight. I won't pull any G's with her up in the air. And they're like, nope, you're not going. So I missed my one chance in the F-16. So but that's okay. It's okay.
You said you've been to Italy and Saudi Arabia and stuff. Like, what was your favorite place that you got to serve at?
I mean, Italy was one because we could travel around to all the different, countries nearby. But I was also stationed with my ex-husband when I got out in Hawaii. So, I mean, between Hawaii and Italy, it's a hard to compare, but both beautiful places, beautiful people. So, it's hard to compare, but obviously those two were amazing.
Nice. And then, what would you say, like, since getting out, what would you say is one of your pet peeves with civilians since transitioning out of military service?
Pet peeves, I think just sometimes it's hard for them to understand us, and it's really hard. I work with veterans and first responders now, and I think it's just really hard for civilians just to connect with us. And as prior military and veterans, it's hard to move into a society like that when they don't understand. And so with my job, we're trying to connect people and trying to get, bridge that gap between the two.
Nice. And then what is something that you feel you'll always carry with you from your time of service?
Obviously, the friendship, the deep friendships you make, the connection, and just, we would go into some areas where they were so poor and just war-ridden, and you would see the joy in the faces of some of, these people that had nothing. And I just think hope. I think I would just carry the hope and the confidence and courage. I've seen marriages go through hell, and, my ex was, deployed for a year. I had to bring up my two babies when they were little, and just people fought through things and they made it work. And I think just the toughness and just just trying to push through.
Yeah, I agree. Then, I mean, you kind of mentioned like, you touched on the goat relations episode and stuff, but what's like another one of the funniest stories you feel you could share from your time of service?
So when I was working at the F-16 flight, I think they were doing a training with the cops, and they told me you're never allowed to drive on the flight line, or I wasn't, as a supply person. I wasn't fuels or anything, and they told me to take the supply truck, and my boss knew and the cop knew, but they told me to drive on the flight line, and because it was training for the police officers.
You're
So,
okay, yeah, you're back. Your sound was kind of getting muffled there for a minute. I don't know what happened.
sorry. And sorry, maybe connection, but no. So they told me to drive on the flight line with the supply truck, and here I am, 19 years old, driving on the flight line, and all of a sudden I'm surrounded by cops, and they're pointing guns at me, and so they're like, "Stop, stop, stop!" And it was just a training for them to see, make sure they were doing their job. So I don't know if that was funny, but it was funny now, but not at the time.
And then, what would you say is like one of your greatest hopes for the country that you've been willing to give your life for?
Just to get the proud American, resilience back in the American people, and just let us, and just quit the division. I think so many forces have divided us, and I just hope that one day we could just see each other's hearts instead of dividing, races or whoever. I just hope one day that we could just come together and just see that we're all the same inside, and that we could, be proud of this country and what we were built, on. So.
Yeah, I agree. And then, this will definitely segue into a lot of what you've been doing now, but, what do you feel like, for the people that are still serving and around today, or just for as part of that educational thing that you're like talking about with civilians as well? What do you feel we can do to break the stigma of mental health and PTSD?
I think our generation is one of the first that are really doing something about it. And, I have a couple friends and their husbands, their commanders would say, just push it down, don't talk about it, whatever. But, the education is just, don't be afraid. You're not alone. And, you just want to be a better person for your kids, your family, yourself. And, that stigma is still out there. But I think, like I said, we're the first generation that are really trying to break through that and do something about it.
Yeah. And then as I was kind of like talking about what we met like a couple years ago at like one of those annual vet fests that they have here out in North Ridgeville. And I remember at the time you were like working with the Forever Amber group, and it was like, it's a good thing for veterans to go to, because there's so many organizations that have booths there that may let veterans know about other things that are out there other than the VA for them. Like, what was your experience like working with Forever Amber?
I started off a couple years ago, and I'm still going every single month. I go for personal therapy, and then I also go with a group of veterans, and just the connection with the horses, and they teach you, and obviously they have equine specialists and therapists there, and they teach us to be more present and basically learn to help, help with the trauma and help us, just be present where we are today, and see that we're not still stuck in that life, and that we can move forward and be healthy today. And just with the horses, they include that, and with the therapy, and it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I sent you that video of my daughter brushing one of the horses, because they had we went to the most recent Wounded Warriors group that they brought out there, and there's another video I should send you, because this is the first time I'd done something like this. I'd been there prior, and got next to the horses and got to experience some of that healing. But this time we got to paint with the horses. We set up like tables and stuff in there. And that was like, you know, it was like, I was a little nervous for myself and being in there with my daughter because they get up in your face and, you know, you're trying to paint and everything. But then I was just, you know, having a ball with it. But yeah, it was quite an experience. It was definitely something different. I tried to get one to cut a promo ID for my podcast, but it wasn't like Mr. Ed or anything.
Yeah, no. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but it was a great time, and it was just like it was cool to share that with my oldest daughter too, you know. And
Absolutely.
we'll definitely be back, and I love what, you know, that we have that kind of in our own backyard, you know, not too far of a drive for us to be a part of that.
It's a gem. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you know, talking about more about like other ways for veterans to you know, experience some sort of alternative like healing. You'd mentioned the place that you're working that helps with veterans and first responders, that D2 Human Performance. You want to share a little bit about what that organization does and how that came about?
Sure. Actually, I was a patient and I had such good results. So it's transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, but how we're different as a company and how we've had such great benefits. Like almost everyone else around the world and nation, they treat everyone's brain the same. And so how we're different is we do an EEG before, we read your brain waves, and we do an EKG as well, look at your history, and it spits out a report, and it tells us exactly what your brain, what hertz we should stimulate your brain at. So it's a magnet we put on the forehead, and it basically, it's kind of like, you know, when a radio station is off, that's kind of what your brains do, your brain waves do after, you know, trauma, TBIs, and other things. And so that magnet is helping those brain waves talk to each other. So the doctor told me I have ADHD, and he said, well, it might not be ADHD. Your brain waves are in the sleep theta, you know, theta waves when they're supposed to be awake. And so they put the magnet, you know, it's 20 days, it's Monday through Friday for 20 days, it's 14 minutes long. And I had such great results. I was sleeping better. My anxiety went down. My blood pressure went down, which it wasn't bad. But also I just felt a calm and a peace. And so Ohio, we had 8 clinics, and Ohio gave us a grant. So Ohio's paying for it. We're open in Florida, North Carolina. So the states are catching on, and it's for first responders and veterans. And it's the most rewarding job I've ever had. They offered me a job after I had such good results, and I got trained as a Neuro Tech. And I just see these lives change. We've had police chiefs, we've had fire chiefs that, you know, are a little disgruntled after 30 years of just, you know, putting their butt on the line, and they come in, and after 20 days, they're smiling, they're joking. We send them back to their place, and they're like, what did you do to these people? And we've even had a police officer said, if it wasn't for your treatment, he was involved in a shooting, and he said, I wouldn't have had the calm and the, you know, clear mind to pause and do what I was supposed to do. And so it's just, like I said, we've had results from day one to later on. And I mean, people were suicidal. One of my patients stopped smoking and drinking after decades, day one with this treatment. So it's amazing. It's for depression, anxiety, and it's also for high performance. Navy SEALs use it. The LA Lakers use it to just for high performance. So yeah, it's an amazing place. It's a little hidden gem, and not too many people know about it yet, but we're getting the word out.
Well, yeah, and I mean, just everything you said there definitely sounds like something I need to check out. I've been, you know, I'm 16 years sober, you know, and I was on a meeting this morning, Zoom, and you know, I've been trying to do my recovery journey, but you know, I mean, there's just, you know, that stinking thinking they talk about that I combat quite often. And then I went from one addiction to another. It's like, you know, I'm a foodie, and that gets me in trouble, you know, and I justify it because, you know, it's like, well, I got to eat, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, it's easy for my mind to play tricks on me. It's easy to fall into those slumps, you know, of like, you know, guilt and shame. And it just, you know, it sounds like something I definitely need to look into, you know, to continue
Absolutely.
being, you know, the best possible me I can be.
And on the backside, we also have the cryotherapy, red light therapy, and we have this wave neuro chair, and it's a neuromuscular chair, and it's better than a massage. It does wonders. So it's all about relaxing the nervous system and you know, having peace of mind again. So
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be following up with you about that
for
for
sure.
sure. And then, I mean, you know, I want to get into the Tyler's redemption place with you,
Mhm.
especially because, like I said, where my background is. But I'd be remiss. I think the last time we were chatting before setting this up, I was asking you about the what is it, Kangen water?
Kangen water.
Kangen water.
Yeah.
You want to share with the audience a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, I just years and years ago, my aunt told me about alkaline water and a body can't, you know, survive in an alkaline state. And so I've known that for decades. And when I moved back to Ohio 10 years ago, I just decided to suck it up and I got a little filter system on my sink and it's the best water ever. And me and my children have been the healthiest we've ever been. And it's just about, you know, purifying. There's so much fluoride and other chemicals in our water that it's a really good system. It's a Japanese medical advice. They, you know, there's like titanium plates in it, and it's phenomenal for health results.
Nice. Yeah, I have like a whole house filtration system, and then also under my sink, been doing reverse osmosis. But this sounds like, you know, especially like I've been learning a lot because I've been losing, unfortunately, a lot of friends to cancer. And so I've been, you know, researching myself to try and share with some of my friends. And that whole alkaline acidic thing plays a huge role in that. And parasites and stuff like that. I've been learning so much about that. We're not taught, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely curious in pursuing that as well.
Well, good. You're on the right path.
Yeah. And then let's get to Tyler's redemption place. Talk about like how you got involved, what that is, and like how you got involved with that.
It's a beautiful, I have the folder right here. It's a beautiful little cabin, big cabin that it's in Summit County, Ohio. And the founder came into our TMS place just because some of our patients go to his foundation. And it's a recovery community outreach. And I did the tour today. They've got a salt room where you just lay down. There's salt on the floor, salt walls, even they'll put salt coming. Yeah, I was going to say you needed to do that today, but coming out of this, I don't know, this filter, and you just lay there. They put quiet, calm music, and it's just, you just time out, and it's all about, you know, just getting your body back and feeling great. But it's just a recovery community. They've got a gym downstairs. It's so peaceful outside. They've got a fire pit. They just had a concert the other night. And, you know, there's peer mentors, and it's not only for veterans, it's for anyone, but they have a special veteran program, you know, for us and I was talking to a Air Force veteran female, and she said, you know, in the military, there's so much drinking, and we just covered up our bad thoughts and everything, you know, and our trauma by drinking and shoving it down. And so they're just trying, the founder's son got into an addictive pattern, and he lost his son a couple of years ago. And so they got the land donated, and they raised money for that foundation. They just want to give back. So and the founder's a Marine as well. So it's just such a beautiful place to be and help others recover.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely a place I need to go check out. My girlfriend is like I think I told you when we were talking, she's a firefighter EMT. And, you know, so it's very, I think that's what kind of helped bring us together. There's that dark humor, you know, how we deal with trauma and stuff like that, you know. But like I said, and like, I mean, it was the culture, you know, it was the culture for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I just celebrated 16 years sober, but
Congrats.
you know, it was you know, I when I look back and the farther I go and I start working my program and working on the internal stuff, you know, I see like some of the things that contributed to why I did, you know,
Mm-hmm.
pick that up and stuff. And so my girlfriend just quit drinking recently too now and started attending meetings with me.
That's
And
great.
you know, she's over like 60 days now. So that's sounds like a place that me and her need to go together to check out, you know.
Absolutely. They'll welcome you with open arms, and they're just great people.
And it sounds like, yeah, I need to get in touch with the owner, the Marine too, and have him on as well. You know, I love learning about all these different organizations. Like I mean, when I first came home and started kind of like, you know, trying to figure out how to live life on life's terms again.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think Wags for Warriors was one of like the first groups I got involved with, you know, and
Yeah.
I got my dog through them. And then that opened the door to tell me about like, you know, this program out in Idaho, and then, you know, Sun Valley, the Higher Ground, and then, you know, Wounded Warriors and all these other organizations, and then, you know, Forever Amber. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing what I mean, I think the VA is trying to make a turnaround, you know, and get on board than just throwing pills at us. You
Yeah.
know, it's seeing that, but these alternative therapies, you know, were a lifesaver, man. And veterans helping
Absolutely.
veterans have been
Mm-hmm.
absolute life changer for me. And that's what I like to get those stories told on here and get the word out about a lot of
That's
those.
great.
Because, yeah, you know, we don't know what we don't know. And a lot of them heard such a bad things about the VA, they don't even get involved with that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good to talk about those. Now, your journey now, you said you had such good results with the
TMS.
yeah, the TMS.
Mhm.
And I mean, can you explain a little bit more about becoming a Neuro Tech?
Yeah, I just you know, like I said, they offered after I had such great results, they offered me a job. It was closer to home, and I just had to go through this intensive training out in California with I had to learn how to do EEGs, and then now I had to learn how to use the stimulator and the TMS machine. And I mean, there's calculations and there's intensive just training, and you had to have practicals with, you know, with the people who created the machine. So it was pretty intensive, but well worth it. And like I said, now it's me giving back and just trying to help, like you said, people that don't even know what's out there. And the problem, I think, also there's so many organizations, you don't know what's valid, what's not. And at least these are like, you know, these are vetted. We, you know, some of us have gone through it, we've used it, we know it, they're good people, and you're going to get taken care of at these places. So
That's great. Yeah, I'm glad to learn more about that, and I'll definitely be following up with you because I think that would be a huge piece of the puzzle on putting myself back together again.
for
You
sure, I
know,
could send you, yeah, WKYC Channel 3 came out last year for a grand opening. So I could send you that link and you guys could, you know, either tag it in here or read more about it.
awesome. Yeah, I'll have to do
Yeah,
that for sure. And then, you know, I mean, with your personal journey and all these things that you've been able to do and give back and the organizations you're involved with, what's I mean, it seems like you've got so much going on, but you still have any other like what goals do you have for yourself going forward?
well, they know I want to maybe end up in Florida one day. And so I would like to run a clinic down there, one of our D2 clinics in Florida. Once, you know, like I said, it goes, we opened up 3 clinics down there now, and in Tampa and Miami, and we're just ready to explode down there. All these states are coming at us and, you know, giving us grant money. And now it's a matter of just getting the word out and, you know, connecting people. And so I would love to run a clinic down there in Florida and just help, you know, help people down there
Nice,
and just
nice,
continue with and continue with the rest of the organizations as well.
great. Well, you know, I want to, before we get ready and wrap up, I want to ask you a couple of questions that I normally ask my guests that I have on here.
Okay.
I think we also have a mutual love for music. I think we talked about that at Vet Fest as well.
Yep.
And I I mentioned, a lot of times I have musicians on here. So, but everybody's being a fan of music. Who would you say is your top 3 musical artists that you're listening to today?
Listening to, I probably I'm listening to a lot of country lately, but probably Luke Combs, Riley Green, and I don't know. I like all kinds of music. The third one, I don't know. I like rock as well, so I'm all over the place actually. I can't think of a third right now.
I know, it's funny too. I remember, like, there's certain music that I love that I grew up on, and I'm still more biased to that type of music, like rock and metal and stuff like that. But the other beauty of being in the military and becoming friends with other cultures, and there's so many, I never thought I'd be like, a country fan, and now I'm a country music fan and stuff like that. Certain rap that I like as well, and it was just all because of the the people I got to hang out with and learn from in the military as well.
Yeah, and we have fantastic cover bands here in Cleveland too. So I know a lot of the bands around here, so that's fun.
Yeah. I think we're both friends with Billy Morris, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask you, like, I love asking this question and get all kinds of good answers. But what class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
Oh, I think a mental health mindset class, because I think you could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the mindset, I think that's what's going to push you to the next level, honestly, in anything you do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I was saying, that's something that I still struggle with. It's like the rewiring that subconscious mind. That record that's been playing for so long and rewriting it.
And that's what that magnet does. It just rewires that brain. So, yep, on top of the words and the mental.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it definitely. I think I'll be visiting you there very soon.
Great.
And then, who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
Definitely my mom. My mom has always been a great supporter, and just proud of, just pushing me to do what I wanted to do within limits. And my mom, I mean, I think good old Ronnie Reagan, just listening to him and the pride that he has, and just what a patriot he was. And honestly, I mean, Jesus, I'm a strong believer, and he has helped me in so many ways. And my kid's dad and I were told we couldn't have kids and without in vitro. He got cancer. I had precancerous cells, and he said, God will give you the money if you make us pregnant without anything. And we got pregnant. I have 2 boys. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, any message that you have for our brothers and sisters that are currently serving overseas?
Just know that you're doing the best. You're doing a great job. And, we need you. We need the youth on our side. We need, warriors out there just being strong and just doing what's right and just protecting our freedoms. And just thank you. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And we paved the way, and we want to see, a great nation come about again. And you guys are doing that for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. And then before I get ready and let you go, I need one last favor from you. I always have my veterans on here cut a promo ID for the show, but they introduced themselves at the last rank they held when they were in active duty. So if you could just introduce yourself at that rank, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Margie Warren, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Awesome. Margie, that was perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
And then, for any of the people out here that watch this and might want to follow, like, some of the things that we talked about or what you're involved with, where would you want to send them?
I could send you the links, etmsohio.com, Forever Amber Acres is the horse, and Tyler's Redemption. So I could give you the links, and if you want to put it in, down in the information, you can.
All right. Yeah, I'll do that for sure. But thank you so much again for your time and doing this for me today.
No problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Listen up! Hold on to your seats! Grab your girls, grab your beers!
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelt.